Hey guys, today's video will be a hate item tier list. Haven't actually done one in a while, so let's go. And as always, if you guys enjoy this kind of video, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So let's start with the best. First on, we will go over all the items and rank them, and afterwards I want to tell you which ones are the highest priority at getting to level 30, which will most likely be the ones that are in the top category, but yeah. The best item in the game, without a doubt, is Body Barrier. Absolutely broken. You know, you kinda, even if you play a character that be like, maybe Body Barrier is not good on this, Body Barrier will always be good on literally every single character, can be used everywhere, just an insane item. Up next we have Muscle Band. Muscle Band is the #1 damage item for just doing damage, even though your character is not supposed to do damage. It's just always there. If your character just has range auto attacks, it's the best item for just having straight up a DPS increase by quite a lot. It helps you take down Dreadnoughts faster, Articunos faster, just an insane item. Next up, we have Score Sheet. Actually, Score Sheet I probably still rank higher than Muscle Band currently, because Score Sheet is just absolutely insane. There's so many games where you just stack Body Barrier Score Sheets and you just get so many scores off. It helps you snowball experience. It helps you win games. I can't count how many times Score Sheet has won the game, or won a game for me, or it's lost. I've lost games because the enemies got the Score Sheet caps off. Absolutely frustrating item to play against. And also, since everyone wants Body Barrier, you have insane shields. And Score Shield, in case you don't know, Score Shield stacked with other shields. So people have to deplete your entire shield if you stack with something else before the Score Shield even gets, negated. So, busted item. And for the last best item here, Focus Band. I think has a bit less usage than the other items, but nonetheless, it's like Focus Band's like having a second life, right? It's pretty much compared to, I don't know, maybe I literally would compare to Guardian Angel of League of Legends. Of course, you can get bursted down sometimes, but it's literally a second life. It does have a decent amount of cooldown. In case you don't know, let's go over it. You can see it right here. It has a cooldown, 80 seconds on max level, on level 20. So yeah, it does have quite a long cooldown, but it heals you for quite a lot and it gets you out of a lot of scenarios. Up next, we have... what do we have next? Good items. So for good items, I will go over the items that are used by at least 2 characters. All right, by at least 2 characters or 1 character, which already makes them good items, right? If one of these items is used, they have to be decent items because they're being used. So let's start with attack rate. Attack rate is good on, let's say, 2 to 3 characters. Main ones are Lucario and Greninja. So if it's being used, it's a good item. Very straightforward. If you play attack rate, it's still very, very good on Lucario. If your character has high base attack values, which not a lot of characters have. Sometimes attack rate's also obviously a bit hard to stack, but just because it's being used, it is a solid item. Choice Spec, also used by certain mages. Decent item for just having a bit more burst damage. Not one of the best, but also just like, yeah, again, it's being used, so it's decent. Energy Amp has fallen off a bit, but it's still a pretty solid item. The problem with Energy Amp is just that a lot of new items got introduced, and other items are just like, you mostly just run Body, Score, Focus, or Muscle Band over Energy Amp, but there's still certain characters that can make good use of Energy Amp. Currently, Pikachu is one of the best ones to use Energy Amp on. His ultimate is super low cooldown, actually does quite a lot of damage as well with it. Other characters that can use Energy Amp well are characters like Machamp. Still Zeraora, after his nerfs, maybe not anymore. There's some builds there where people play Talonflame with Energy Amp, which is also, honestly, probably maybe a bit underrated. So yeah, Energy Amp, also very solid item. XP Share is a very good item, mainly used by premates, mainly used by supports only, Blissey, Aedigos, maybe some, support Wigglytuffs or something. It's very good in premates. If you can snowball your laner quite hard in experience, a very good item. But not really solo queue mate, but yeah, still a pretty good item. Razor Claw, one of the items that was added a while ago already. Same as Choice Specs, used by a few characters like Absol, pretty good on Talonflame, can work on E-Speed Lucario, so it also has its niche. So it's like, these are like niche items, let's say already. It's just the problem with this game right now is that these items at the top, you can pretty much put on every single character and it will be fine. You just use Muscle Band, Score Shield, Body Barrier, or Score Sheet or Focus Band, put it on any single character and it's fine. Like, you have a build. So the other items are just very pushed back by these items overpowering, the effect of what they do. So Razor Claw is still a pretty solid item as well. Again, used by 3 to 4 characters. And that's about it. Scope Lens is a great item as well. Also used by a few characters. And let's name a few like Machamp, Cinderace, Greninja, right? It's the damage item, Decidueye, for range carries. Or for crit Pokemon like Absol. Talonflame also can make good use of this. He doesn't crit with his abilities, but he's still, you know, he has very high basic attack, so if he crits, he does a lot of damage. So still pretty good item on someone like Talonflame as well. So Scope Lens actually has quite a lot of usage. All of these items probably the most. One of the best items if your character has any sort of crit damage abilities or just has very high base damage. Shellbell, absolutely terrible item. In case you don't know, there's a lot of Shellbell believers. It does give cooldown reduction, so on level 30 it gives you 4.5 cooldown reduction and some special attack, but this is really neglectable. The biggest issue is it has a 10-second cooldown. And a 10-second cooldown for an item like this, it really doesn't heal much. Fights are over very fast, you might proc it once or twice in a team fight. It's just not worth it over any other item. And the cooldown reduction, yeah, in theory is nice, but it just doesn't do it justice to how much the other items do in this game. Assault Vest, honestly, it's not a good item, but it's also not terrible. No one uses this. I mean, some players do, but you shouldn't use it. But I still wouldn't say it's a terrible item. It for sure could be something in the future in case Buddy or Squashy get nerfed and you can see your opponent's team comps. It can for sure be something you can be picking. I think same for Eos Cookie. Like, those items are just outpowered by the other defensive items. Like, I don't think Eos Cookie is a bad item necessarily either. It does give quite a lot of HP and has good synergy with other items like Squashy and Buddy Barrier, right? You have more HP, which means those items will also do more. Or any HP sorts of tanks that have some scaling with HP. So it's not a bad item, but again, also overpowered, outshined by the other, you know, tank items, defensive items there are. Rocky Helm, I'm honestly not sure. So the way Rocky Helm works, right, is you have to take 10% of your maximum HP to trigger its effect. And then you do AoE percentage damage around you. And it's based on your max HP, so in theory it's good on squishies because it's easier for you to proc it, but then you also like a squishy in your opponents. It's a very awkward item. On tanks it's very hard to lose 10% of your HP to trigger it in a single attack. So yeah, just very weird item, and I just can't recommend it. I would still put in the terrible tier for now. Maybe at some point when like, oh yeah, maybe there's some sort of build where a melee assassin jumps in and procs it a few times. But even if I would play out someone like Absol, right, who takes easy damage who goes in, it might proc like 2 or 3 times before I'm dead. Other damage items will just do much more, right? So yeah, just not a good item. Special Specs has its place as well. Not a terrible item. It's used by a few characters. I personally played a lot on, you know, Mr. Mime, right? So pretty decent item. But it's very hard to use, and not a lot of characters will be able to use it. So the problem is, right, like, in theory, maybe it's good on Gardevoir or something, but you can never score on Gardevoir. But yeah, on someone like Mr. Mime, maybe you play a cheese bit of like Triple Glasses Gengar. It for sure has its place, but it's one of the lower used items out of the good items tier. Vice Glasses also has its usage, and yeah, actually it has kind of fallen off quite a lot. It's just kind of got. Actually, I'm gonna. I don't think it's like I played on Sylveon. I mean, I played on one character. Yeah, a bit questionable. And for the last item, actually, we ran out of space over here. Let me do this very fast. Actually, ran out of space. There's too many good items. Let me get this on screen, just so no one is confused where the last item went. So there we have Weakness Policy, also an item that is actually not bad, but also like not a lot of characters can use it. It's pretty good on characters like Garchomp, Serena, Lucario. It actually gets used, like people play this item, Machamp. But the problem is as well, like on Machamp, you want to have Muscle Band, Scope Lens, and Body Barrier or Focus Band, so it just doesn't have a spot. If there were the 4 slots somewhere, I think it would be played a bit more often. But again, I don't think it's a terrible item. It has for sure its place. And it's being used currently by Lucario players, which means, you know, if an item is being used, I think it has to be a good item. So no one is going to play bad items, right? Necessarily. All right, guys, that's it for this tier list. And now let's talk about level 30 items, which is also going to be very straightforward. The best level 30 item, what should you use your item enhancers on? Body Barrier. What does Body Barrier do? It gives you 200 more HP, which is quite a lot for the early game. It doesn't matter late game much, but having 200 more HP, you can see it here, 420, 630, can be the difference between 2 or 3 auto attacks that you might live or not live. Score Shield is the same story. 150 more HP. A bit worse than Body Barrier. But the reason is why we make those items level 30 as well is because they have the most usage, right? You get the most value out of these items since you will be using them on like 90% of your characters. So next up, Muscle Band as well. Muscle Band also level 30 item if you want to. It gives you 2.5 more attack speed. And again, used on a lot of characters, which means, yeah, 5 more attack, 2.5 more attack speed. Attack speed is something that scales well into the game. For late game, it always has the same value, it never fades off. And late game, you have more attack speed, which means this will also probably do more. And then we also have Focus Band. Focus Band is an okay level 30 item. Again, if you use Focus Band on a lot of your characters, it's probably worth it for the 10 special defense as well. Nothing amazing either. But then the best level 30 item in the game is Scope Lens. If you play Scope Lens characters, this is the item. You want to be level 30. Under any circumstance, it gives you 2% more crit, which is huge. And it also gives you 4% more crit damage, which is also shouldn't be, laughed at. But the 2% crit damage you get, or hit rate, is, or crit rate, crit hate, whatever you want to call it, hit rate, is one of the best, or the best level 30 item when it comes to just straight up stat value, because 2% crit is a lot. And besides that, you don't really have to necessarily level anything to level 30. So my main items are, what I would recommend level 30 are Body Barrier, Score Shield, Muscle Band, and Scope Lens. And then afterwards, maybe just look which items you play and not use on a lot of characters, so you just get a lot of value. Razor Claw also gives you some crit, it's not much. But if you play Razor Claw, like your main characters are all Razor Claw, it's probably worth it to get the 0.5% more crit hit rate. Why not? Take it. Maybe that half a crit will win you a game at some point. But yeah, besides that, wouldn't really level anything else to 30. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And wait, I actually forgot 2 items. Because they're so bad, that I actually forgot them. They were just down there chilling. Oh, it's because I zoomed out. I completely forgot these items. Absolutely terrible items. Don't play these. See, I even forgot they existed. And yeah. What a shame, what a shame. Leftovers and Floatstone. Floatstone does absolutely nothing. Leftovers does absolutely nothing. Yeah. They just take too long to do something. So in case you don't know, Floatstone, the passive in theory doesn't sound too bad, but you need to be 7 seconds out of combat, which takes quite a lot. It barely happens. And Leftovers, yeah. Being 7 seconds as well out of combat just takes too long. Like, the game is already short enough. You always have something to do. And even just hitting, like Audino or something will put you in combat. So yeah, terrible items. Don't do these. Alright guys, thanks for watching.